I have an observation with respect to particle physics that if we assume that around us in a vacuum where there is no matter particle, if the vacuum is actually not completely out of the matter particle. So in the vacuum there are some matter particles and there are some antimatter particles, and when they meet each other, annihilate each other, and they turn to nothingness. Now we consider this as non-absolute nothingness because it is made by the annihilation of the matter and the antimatter, and we think that there is nothing else that's inside them. There might be something else inside them, so we can call this thing as X. So this X always remains there. Now there's an equilibrium between this X and the formation of the two substances of which the X is made, namely the matter and the antimatter. So at a particular point of time, and based upon some circumstances or some essential things about which I don't have any information right now, but the thing is, at a particular point of time there, and there in a space, there's an equilibrium between the X, which is the annihilationary product of the matter and the antimatter, and the amount of matter and antimatter. So there is an equilibrium between the X and the amount of antimatter and matters. But how are they produced, and what substances do get produced, and what are the essential circumstances or parameters for it? What is the thing that defines that, whether the X would dissociate or whether the antimatter and matter would annihilate, and if the X would dissociate, how would antimatter and matter not annihilate during that time when they get dissociated and when they become individual entities, the antimatters and matters respectively? What would be the reason that they won't annihilate each other again? So these things are to be answered by observation, analysis, and deep thinking, and creative thinking in the other way, thinking about the problem by thinking of something else which might be related to it. Just think about how two things like plus and minus would react in this situation, like plus one minus one eventually gives 0, but 0 might also be written as plus 1 minus 1, which is the same. Like if you can consider here plus 1 is matter and minus 1 is antimatter, and 0 as the X factor. So you can try thinking of it that way and try to analyze the properties of this 0x, 0, 1 and negative 1 system, and this might help you in knowing how the gravitational field works at a distance. It could be that there is not actually anything called nothingness. Even in the nothingness, when we say the matter is not here, the matter might exist in the form of X, in the form of the annihilationary product of X and plus X of matter and antimatter that would annihilate to give X, and the X might de-annihilate itself. Now that's the term that I have made about the significance of it and the pure definition of it, but I don't know right now. The X might de-annihilate to matters and antimatters in such a way that the matter and antimatter are still kept okay. They do not annihilate each other just after being found out. Maybe it could happen that they just annihilate each other after becoming matter and antimatter, after becoming matter and antimatter for only a very less period of time. They would remain stable. They would not get annihilated.